Hello, welcome to Politalks. I'm Sunny and Tim. We will start today's episode by watching this video, or as some people would call it, a bioscope.
Let the borders be open. And if the gates are not going to be open for SADC, fellow SADC people, please find a creative way. This is your home. Your families are here. There's no way anyone is going to close you out here. Lesotho and Free State are one thing. Mpumalanga and Swaziland are one thing. Northwest and Botswana are one thing. Limpopo and Zimbabwe are one thing. What is the point? There's no point at all except people who suffer from self-hate. Put South Africa first nonsense. The borders are closed. Put South Africa says close the borders. The borders are closed. Are you employed now? You are not employed, even with borders closed. Even with the borders closed.
Open border policy was there in 2014, was there in 2019, but it didn't work. What else can we find to attack them? Whether me and you like it or not, there are no borders in South Africa. That is just something written for formality on the founding manifesto of the EFF. There are no borders, my brother. I can tell you, it's like we behave like a mad person who has got a shack and a yard. He's given a stand with a shack. He goes and put a gate where there's no fence. You put a gate. When you go to Mqimbi, we Yamalopo, ukia gate like a lock. Yet you don't have a fence. When you come back and unlock that gate and open. Your neighbor is looking at you. It's like, what is this? Gayton Mackenzie was running all over Limpopo River, saying he's chasing Zimbabweans who are crossing into South Africa, almost eaten by crocodiles for doing that. But the foolish him, he didn't know. He was proving what I'm saying correct, that there is no fence. So what open border are you talking about, which is not happening now, which is going to happen after the EFF takes over government? These Africans have always...
Well, that right there is EFF leader Julius Malema, telling people from neighboring countries to find, and I quote, creative means to get into South Africa. He then claims that he is accused of advocating for open border policies, citing that there is no fence separating South Africa and its neighbors. What this clown fails to understand is that the reason our border is in a terrible state, like having no fence at all, is because of the ANC's lack of maintenance for a long time, which is why the ANC itself must be voted under power. And what Malema also fails to understand is that there is a reason for borders to exist. Borders are not merely there to separate pieces of land. No. The function of a border is to establish and affirm sovereignty over this land that we call home. It is to let the world know that we are a country with independent jurisdiction over our own affairs. A border is also a security mechanism that is vital to deter and to prevent possible dangers to national security from entering our country. So, Julius Malema, without proper borders, a country is at risk of allowing criminals, of allowing drugs, counterfeit goods, stolen goods, and terrorists into the country. Just a year ago, there was an uprising in Mozambique, neighboring Mozambique. And there was a high danger, very high danger of that uprising spilling into South Africa. In fact, during that period, there were several illegal crossings that took place and were recorded. I've not even touched on what travels out of the country. Open borders make it easier for our women and our children to be trafficked and shipped out of the country. It enables those people who steal our copper cables, from damaging our critical infrastructure like our rails and our power stations to smuggle those things out of the country. It allows criminals from South Africa, I'm talking about rapists, I'm talking about murderers, terrorists, or whatever, to flee and to never be found again. That is the risk. Those are dangers of not having proper borders with Julius Malema. I have not even touched on immigration policy. I'm going to start here. South Africa is the largest economy in Africa, and we are by far the most industrialized country in Africa. But that doesn't mean that we can accommodate the whole of Africa here. We can barely get by with our own citizens, our own people. The fact is that there are simply not enough hospitals, schools, houses, and resources to sustain all of us as citizens alone. And our Julius Malema wants to bring these new people and adding more to the population. And can you imagine the strain that that's going to have on our resources and our infrastructure? Illegal immigrants are sometimes intentionally brought here as they are cheap labor, seen as less costly than hiring South Africans who would demand high wages, apparently. This greed, this greed takes away jobs from low and semi-skilled South Africans who would have had an income, but they don't. And before I am attacked and called xenophobic, I must clarify my position. In no way am I saying that foreign people should not work in South Africa. No, but South Africans must be given first preference all the time. The only time that we should be employing foreigners is when there is a skills shortage, when there is a skill that you cannot find in South Africa or you cannot easily find in South Africa. That is the only reason, that's the only time when we should be outsourcing people from other countries. Other than that, it's a no. An Uber driver is not a critical skill. A teacher is not a critical skill. A hairdresser is not one of them. A technician is not one of them. So not is a cell phone repairman, not a waiter, mechanic is not a critical skill. Neither is a general assistant. Those aren't critical skills. Those are jobs that South Africans can do and should be doing, but instead of they are full of foreigners, many of which are illegal immigrants. The issue at the border is concerning, and I just see any sense of urgency from the ministers responsible for the sector, namely Home Affairs Minister Leon Schreiber, Police Minister Senzo Mchunu, and Defense Minister Andrew Mutshekga. All three of these ministers have not committed themselves to better borders. And Leon Schreiber wants to make it easier for even more foreigners to come here through his new visa regulations. Part of what we do here at Politalks is not only informing you about the problem, but also providing solutions. So what would I do if I were in charge? Well, I would start by tabling a bill in Parliament to grant more powers to the Department of Home Affairs and the Border Management Authority, so that those two organizations are able to exercise the right to arrest and to detain people who are trying to get into the country illegally, or people who are trying to bring in contrabands, things in which are illegal to bring into the country. I believe that this can be done without involving the SAPS. I would also commit more funding to border security, increasing the workforce there, and to train the staff. I would also acquire modern techniques and seek assistance and advice from countries with strong borders. I'm talking about Australia, Canada, and New Zealand, countries with very strong borders and strong immigration policies. I will also make sure that troublemakers do not make it past customs check. I would also invest in improving the Home Affairs database and modernize our database and digitalize it so that we can see who has overstayed their welcome in our country and those people are dealt with accordingly. I will also focus on improving the morale of the Home Affairs staff and the BMA guards. That can be done through body canvas, consistent supervision, and the review of the mission statements of the organization involved, which are Home Affairs and BMA, the Border Management Authority. These are steps that I would take if 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 I were in charge. And these are steps that we should take to initiate law and order in our immigration system. And until we get a government that can do that, our issue with immigration is going to carry on. And you can forget the ANC doing that. They have failed for 31 years. What change will this suddenly bring? So we've come to the end of our video. Let us know what you think in the comments. If you enjoyed our video, please like and subscribe. Don't forget to share our videos so that most South Africans are aware of the struggles that we face in our beautiful country. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.